Hi, I'm Bonnie Zimmermann. I'm with Trinita, and we're going to do some basic wine tasting classes and education over the next few weeks to help you, to help us make good sales, and to make you feel confident. So first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about tools. You need a really good corkscrew. It should have a very good Teflon worm. That's this. It's called a worm. A blade to cut your foil. And this is dual action. This is called a barkeeper's friend. It's a much easier way of opening a bottle. So invest in a good corkscrew if you can. If it does not have a blade, you can also get a foil cutter like this. All right. And I only have one bottle of wine, so I only got one chance to do this. I have my notes because it's been a while for me. And I will send you a copy of these notes as well with a little bit more background information. So the first thing you do is you're going to open this bottle of wine. There's two ways of doing foil cutting. This one takes it right off the top. Some people believe it's better to have it underneath. The idea is that you do not want the wine to come in contact with the metal, the foil. So if you do this properly, whoops, I've done one in a while. It will come right off, and you'll have a clean cut. See that right now? That's clean. That's very important because, again, there's no problem with the contact of the wine. Next, opening it. And you should have a proper glass. One thing I should mention to you is you never hold the glass like this. That's a drunk person at a party. You want to hold by the stem or by the bottom, because by putting your hands on the glass, it not only causes fingerprints, but it changes the temperature of the wine, and we don't want that to happen. We want the wine to remain in perfect temperature. So now, it's kind of hard to do this sitting down. If I stand up, I think my head goes over the frame. Almost, well, we'll do it anyway. Here we go. So you're going to get your worm in the middle, and you're going to start sliding it down. Right in the middle. Then you have the first one pushing up, and then the second one. You're out. Okay? That wasn't that hard, right? Here you go. Do not smell the cork. People will say smelling the cork. You know what? It smells like a cork. It has nothing to do with anything. That's an old, baloney thing. So, all right. So what's going to happen now is that we're going to go through the tasting process. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about temperature. Temperature is crucial when you're working with wine. Think about Goldilocks, where everything was just perfect. Everything had to be just right. If your wine is too hot, their alcohol will be emphasized and it will be flat and flabby. If it's too cold, you're not going to have the flavors are going to be missing. Many people take a white wine right out of the fridge. No, don't do that. No. There's a special area for each of these so that they really are at the best. Tasting wine and drinking wine is not only about science, but it's about senses and enjoying and really kind of getting into what this is. So what's right for you might be different for everyone, but we're going to go ahead and do this. So the first thing, I want to just finish more temperature. White wine, sparkling wine, rosé. I'm sorry I don't have Celsius here, but probably 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit would be appropriate for them. It's see, swirl, smell, sip, and savor. I'm going to have to cut that one out. And what you want to do is you want to evaluate that wine in every way that you can possibly do so. So the first thing you want to do, and if you have your lot of light, which I don't here because I have to try to keep this down so that the birds are quiet, is you could hold it up to the light and look at it. But what I like to do is to take a white piece of paper and look down at the wine. Look at the hue and the intensity. See if you can identify the colors. If it's an older wine, the edges around the perimeter will be brown. That's oxidization. That's okay. It's normal in an older wine. And then as long as the color is getting brighter in the middle, you're in good shape. Okay, so we'll talk about older wines at another time, but this is pretty important. So we're looking at it, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to swirl it around. and we're going to look. Don't be careful. That's why we don't put too much in there. And you're going to see little rivulets coming down the side of the glass. Those are called the tears or the legs. And depending on how strong the alcohol is in the wine, you're going to see them. This wine, this alcohol's got some pretty good stuff. You're going to have to, I can't see it, but trust me. We'll do it in person, I know someday. So we're going to do that. Now the thing next is going to be smelling. But smelling is different in different ways. First of all, you can approach the glass and you smell with your nose and you keep your mouth open. Because what's happening is the receptors are going to your nose and your tongue, okay? That's pretty damn nice. Now, one more step. Try it, just the nose. And then for people that are learning, one of the things I like to teach is to do something that's a little bit different, but makes a big difference. If you're learning, you're going to go, how do these things smell like roses? You're going to learn. I have a very sensitive nose. It's a good thing and a bad thing. But that's what you need to develop is that sense of smell so that you can really identify these things in the wine. They do exist. So instead of just doing this, you're going to take your hand, keep your hand over the glass, be very careful when swirling. This is why we don't have the glass filled up because it'd be a big mess. Not a good thing if you're on a date. Okay, so you're swirling it maybe 30 seconds, doing really good, and then this. Wow! See, what happens is you're building up all the aromas, but you're not letting them out. So by putting your nose under your hand and smelling, you're going to get a much more intense blast of aroma, which is a great way to start learning. And before we taste, I have to talk about a couple things that you should know, and that is that we can identify sweet, sour, and bitter on our tongue, okay? And when wine is not sweet, it's dry. There's no such thing as sour wine. However, each of these things is sensed in a different part of your mouth. So sweet is at the tip of your tongue, okay? All right? And then acid and sour along the sides of both of your tongue, and bitter is at the back. So it contacts all of your sensors at once, and that's one of the things that's important to know. You should know the sweet taste in wine is just because it's a higher sugar content. There's nothing wrong with that. People like all different kinds of wines, it's fine. There's something for everybody, right? Okay. So now we're actually going to taste this. We're going to sip a bit of it, and what I want you to do is once you get it in your mouth, you're going to suck some air in through it. It's kind of very weird looking. I'll do it. I wish I could do this as close up, but I don't have a one camera angle, so. You're trilling it or moving it around in your mouth because you want to get all of the exposure to your tongue. I don't care how you do it. And then swallow. That is going to go ahead and give you an invitation to what the next thing is going to happen. Now, at this particular point in time, it's growing. And the thing that you have to know too is that as you open wine, it opens up. Especially with the reds. Really, if you wanted to, you could decant this wine or open it up half an hour before and it would improve. But again, we'll talk about that a little further down the line. So the last thing I want you to do is savor. And savor means to really get this wine, to really enjoy it. So what I want you to do is get a mouthful, close your mouth on the wine, let it really permeate your tongue before you swallow. And then what you want to do is look into what you're tasting on your tongue. It's called the finish, and most really high, well-crafted red wines have a long-lasting finish, and we like that. So let's try it. Wow. I get blackberries, cranberries, dark fruit. plum. Something spicy. It's very good. So don't be afraid to experiment. And I can't wait for what we're going to be doing together in the future. I'm very excited. And wine is life. And remember, it's a living thing. So in vino veritas, or in wine there is life. Bye.